Well, I didn't build a cat robot. It's kind of hard to follow. My name is Jolie Guillebeau, and I didn't learn to tie my shoes until I was 30. See why that's hard to follow? Sorry. I didn't learn to tie my shoes until I was 30. And we don't have a long time here, so you're just going to have to trust me about the why, but it was awkward. And yet, I managed. I was a productive member of society, and I also wore a lot of loafers. I felt a little inadequate as a person, as if I were somehow deficient. But through all that time, I could draw. So how many of you have ever said you can't draw? Come on, be honest. You're all lying. How many of you can tie your own shoes? How many of you can write your own name? They use the same muscles. Learning to draw is about learning to see. You don't even need your hands to do it. And learning to see is simply about two things: shape and value. So, shape is about renaming things. Instead of a shoe, think of it as a group of ovals or an isosceles triangle. Break it down into a grid, make it into smaller shapes. Narrow down the information so that your brain has something to translate to the paper. If you narrow down the information, then it makes it simpler for your eyes to know what to see. Another way to rename things is to turn them upside down. In this drawing by Picasso, we can see there's a chair, but our brain says, chair. A chair has 4 legs, 2 arms, a seat, and a back, but we don't see all of that. The trick is that you have to draw exactly what you see, no more and no less. Even the most complex of subjects can be broken down into very simple shapes. The next thing to recognize is value. And again, we have to narrow down the information because value is different from color. So color is really distracting. So we come up with a way to trick our brain again. And you punch a hole in an index card and carry it around with you for a while. You might be surprised at how dark things are. So, for example, here, we've narrowed down the information, and we've punched a hole in the index card, and we're looking at something very dark. That red circle there shows you what we were looking at before. And your brain says, no, wait, that's a white shoe. That can't be that dark. But when you narrow down the information, then your eye can only go with what it sees, and your brain doesn't get in the way. Another way to do this is with technology. Let's say we're going to draw this pink ball, okay? We take a digital photo. That gets it into 2D, which narrows it down into shape. That makes it easier for us. Then we use photo editing software, and that gives us a black and white version. Values, easy, right? So let's say, though, that you don't have much time or you can't be bothered with Instagram. Then use a piece of red transparency film. And this, again, eliminates the distracting color and gets you focused just on the values. So you can use these techniques for very simple or very complicated shapes. And a lot of people think that this is cheating, that somehow this isn't fair. But Van Gogh and Vermeer both use these techniques. And I say when you're learning a new skill, you use whatever resources are available. The thing is, people are astounded that it took me so long to learn to tie my shoes. And that's another story. But no one's surprised when somebody says, I can't draw. And they both use the same skills. We insist that 6-year-olds learn to tie their shoes. But we're okay with nobody being able to draw. And I don't believe in talent like Bob Ross. I think that anybody in this room can learn to draw. Thank you.